Hi, everyone. Welcome to the interview series. My name is Hassan, co-founder of Cyber Labs. Today, I have Zafer with me. We will be talking about QA testing and cybersecurity, those two fields. Zafer, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah. My name is Zafer. I've been in the QA automation and several different types of testing fields for more than 5 years, working at big corporations and government contracting levels. So far, it has been going great, but I also have further thought my career advancement and had a couple plans in my head and wanted to move into the cybersecurity field.
Mm-hmm. So you're coming from a very unique background, QA testing. That's what it's called in general, correct?
Yes.
Right. QA testing, and you'll be taking the training. You haven't taken it yet, the hands-on piece, and you're making transition into cybersecurity. Can you tell me, I guess, the number one reason why that made you kind of decide to transition into cybersecurity? Number one reason.
Yeah, number one reason is growth in career. As I mentioned, I gave many years in QA testing. Excelled from manual to automation to go through performance testing, accessibility testing, cloud testing. However, throughout these years that I've noticed, you have very little opportunity to advance in your career from perhaps going from tester to different advancement in your career. So you're very limited in that field. Whereas I see cybersecurity with it's newer, it's demanding, positions are open. Whereas QA testing nowadays, it takes very little skills to be a QA tester, manual position, and you're very easily replaceable, both I would say with machines and also with people. But that's a struggle in the QA field that I first see, because in technology field we cannot kid ourselves. We have to advance ourselves. We have to learn every day what's going on, what's the new technology, what's in the tech world, and I see that cybersecurity is the future. Yep. That you can excel in your career.
Yep. Interestingly enough, I've had many people in our information sessions who are coming from QA testing background and wanted to transition into cybersecurity for those same exact reasons. Number one was limited growth. Number two, this may not be the same with you, but some of them complained about having to change jobs a little more often, maybe, than a permanent kind of job, because there are a lot. I'm guessing many of them are contract.
Yeah.
Yep. Fortunately, we don't have that in cybersecurity. I tell my trainees the primary goal is to get that first job. The second, the third, the fourth, they will follow it right away. You're not going to need to you're not going to need to look for jobs for the second and third one. They will come to you. Recruiters will start reaching out to you. And in my experience within the past, close to a decade in security, and this past 2 years within this training industry, I've seen a lot of people going in the direction of, from QA testing to security, but I haven't seen any cybersecurity person going back to QA testing. So I think that tells the story there. Thank you for that. I want to ask you the next question is about more about cybersecurity than testing. I think we've made it very clear. So you'll be joining us with the hands-on section, hands-on, immersive hands-on training piece, where we're going to basically go through all of the tools that you would need to know as a security analyst on day one, and hit the ground running with those tools within the SEC environment. Why do you think? Why do you think you need that hands-on training? Like, wouldn't Security Plus certification be enough to get you started? Or I believe you have AWS Security, AWS Solutions Architect. I mean, you've got a lot.
Yeah. I have quite a lot in my resume with certifications, but as as we all know, certifications will open the door for an interview or open the door to get your resume to shine next to other candidates. However, it's not enough. It's not enough for you to pass the interview. It's not enough. Let's say you pass the interview somehow. It's not enough for any professional in this case to survive in the tech world without having proper hands-on experience, real life experience, and how to handle a situation when an incident happens.
Yep.
And there's so many tools out there that you need hands-on, definitely.
There's a lot of misinformation on this that I'm seeing across like different platforms. I've been part of, I've talked to many people, but also like I'm part of many like Facebook groups and stuff. And I see people posting, is it enough to get Security Plus to get started in the industry? Yeah, it is possible, but what are the chances of landing your first job just with a Security Plus certification? I would say not that high, because Security Plus will teach you the language of cybersecurity. Like when you take Security Plus or anything equivalent, it doesn't have to be Security Plus, something equal to that would work as well. It will teach you the terms and the terminology so that you can sit down with a security professional and talk the same language. But it won't get you through the interview because in my interviews, I ask people, how do you do this? How do you do that? Tell me about your day-to-day, blah, blah, blah. The only way to answer these type of questions is by practicing those skills on a real environment, in a real environment using real tools. I think that's the part that people are missing, and there's a lot of misinformation. I see a lot of like people struggling after taking a Security Plus, after like studying for months, paying $2 to $3 grand just for the certification boot camp. And we're talking about like a 5-day boot camp, nothing more than that, 5 or at most 10 days. They think the jobs will start, appearing, and the recruiters will start calling, but that doesn't happen, and people get frustrated. I think we need to be pretty honest and think about the worst case scenario, not the best case scenario. The best case scenario is someone at some company and they will hire you no matter what. Because you already have the connections and that will alone get you hired. But how many of us are able to do that? Able to use those connections and all that? It's very, very unlikely. Do you have anything else to add on top of what I said?
Well, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can give you for newcomers. I can give, and as I mentioned, I'm in the IT world, and I know exactly what your point is. But for new people, let's say you want to take a driver's test or something, and just reading the driver's test handbook is not enough for you to go out and drive a car. You have to actually go hands-on, drive the car, go on the highway, drive in rain, drive in snow, and get that hands-on experience, because reading a driver's handbook is not enough for somebody to operate a car.
Yep.
you can say you have a driver's license, pass the test, and have a permit. And I look at it that way. I mean, like, you can get anybody that's a college graduate can just push for months and months and take these. And it's a marketing strategy, to be honest. These people that they try to make money off of people that have dreams. They market and say, look, I can get you this certificate will open doors for you. You'll make hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then they, spend that money and then maybe get the certification, maybe not. And then once they try to post their resume or get an interview, or maybe, like you said, they get lucky by connections and get hired. And I've seen so many people that I work in a big company, and I see a lot of people, when they step in the door and they get hired somehow, you can clearly tell if they have hands-on experience or not. And and you cannot survive. You maybe survive 6 months or so, and then they might, push you to another,
You'll get stressed out. I don't want to live with that stress.
Yeah,
The same thing with the interview prep. What we do is we we have a very comprehensive interview prep book that we prepared based on the questions that were asked in interviews for security analysts, infosec analysts, and all those type of positions. It's like it's around like 90 pages or so. And I tell the trainees, it has the answers too, right? I tell them to study that interview prep book, but just studying alone, the answers alone, and memorizing it won't help you. You also have to go in, like if it's talking about incident response, you shouldn't be just reciting what you memorized. Instead, you should be thinking about, all right, I'm using what tools am I using here in that whole incident response process. All right, there's my SIEM tool, Splunk, QRadar, whatever, and then I have an EDR, endpoint detection and response, FireEye tool. I would use this tool to gather this information to do that, blah, blah, blah. I would use my ticket management, incident response ticket management solution, the Hive or whatever we're using, Confluence, to write my analysis. I would actually, in cases where I get stuck and can't find the solution, I would escalate it up to tier 2 and get them involved and so on. So this can only be done if you're practicing it in real life, and not just once, but many times. One is not going to be enough.
And honestly, like I use Confluence myself, and if I don't use that tool for 6 months, I go in and I get lost. So it's something that it doesn't matter if you've used it once. It's a matter of practice, like you said. It's repetition, practice. Just
yep.
IT world. If you don't practice, you'll lose whatever knowledge you have. It could be any programming language.
That said, I want to add one more thing. I don't want to make it sound like and scare people, right? It's not rocket science. Like we're not. This is not a PhD program, right? It is doable. You can learn it. You need to be dedicated. Keep your motivation high. It's 18 weeks, right? It's not short. 18 weeks is a pretty long time, but at the same time, short enough to learn a set of new skills, right? But you need to keep your motivation high, keep, stay together with your classmates, your colleagues, and with your mentors and instructors and so on, and reach that finish line at that 18th week time. It's not impossible. Does it require a lot of commitment? Oh yeah, it does. It's not going to happen if you simply sit down and listen to those the lectures. You have to put in some time, but again, it's not rocket science either. I don't want to scare anyone off with anything.
It's doable by anybody. It's all about dedication, practice, repetition, and one has to think, as you asked me in the beginning of the video, why. So if you're taking the course, if you have a good reason why, and that should be your motivation, and it should push you through. And you need to have dedication. That's number one, as you said. If you don't have dedication, if you don't practice, and if you don't like what you're doing, then you're not in the right field. So you have to have that motivation, because nobody's going to push you at 9 o'clock, 10 p.m. to go out and give 30 minutes. It's not much. It's just that everybody has family life and, put the kids to sleep and 10 o'clock. Now, are you going to put on the Netflix show and watch and sleep? Or are you going to spend that 40 minutes? We're not asking much, right? 40 minutes for your personal, and this is not just cybersecurity. It could be anything in life, that you have to dedicate at least 40 minutes into whatever goal you have. And I think that it's doable. It's very doable. It's that motivation, how much you want,
Yep.
and as long as you have that, you'll be successful.
Exactly. Zafer, thank you for your time tonight. I don't have any other questions. I think we've covered everything. I think it was valuable to many people. I will be hosting this on the website. And if you have any questions, you can write it down in I guess there will be some sort of comments section at the bottom of this video, or towards the left or right, or whatever. But thanks for coming, and thank you for spending this past 10, 15 minutes, I believe, with us. It was really valuable. Thank you.